wake of the baby shower, King Harris's life took an unexpected and alarming turn. What initially seemed like a celebratory moment for a young father-to-be quickly spiraled into chaos. Reports emerged that King had been arrested in Dunwee on a warrant linked to a year-old driving charge. The police details painted a stark picture, nearly colliding with a patrol car, a weapon found on his person, and the unmistakable signs of reckless behavior. The mugshot that soon flooded social media amplified public scrutiny, turning King from a young heir into a cautionary tale overnight. For many, the narrative was clear. A privileged son, raised in the limelight, was careening toward disaster. Critics questioned his judgment. Was this a phase of youthful recklessness, or a symptom of deeper familial and personal pressures? The story quickly went beyond King's individual actions. Allegations surrounding the Harris family resurfaced, reigniting debates over the shadow of fame, privilege, and scandal. Sabrina Peterson's social media posts promised revealing evidence, linking King directly to claims of coercion and manipulation, though nothing had been legally proven. Still, the public perception had already shifted, and King was increasingly defined by controversy rather than by music, family, or fatherhood. The arrest coincided with a series of incidents that further complicated King's image. From the viral headlock altercation at a Falcons game to footage of intimate family moments gone public, the Harris family's private life was constantly under a microscope. Each event was dissected, speculated upon, and amplified, creating a relentless pressure cooker environment. Insiders suggest that King's actions were partly a reaction to growing up in the glare of fame and attempting to step out of his father's shadow, a dangerous balancing act where personal mistakes quickly become public crises. As King faced mounting scrutiny, the lines between personal failure and systemic targeting blurred. The unfolding drama was more than a legal incident. It was a collision of privilege, expectation, and the relentless lens of social media, raising questions about how a young man, born into wealth and notoriety, could so rapidly find himself at the center of a storm no one saw coming. Just as the public began adjusting to the image of a troubled King Harris, a new wave of allegations erupted, dragging the Harris family back into the spotlight. Years-old claims of forced intimacy, reckless parties, and manipulation resurfaced through social media, spearheaded by Sabrina Peterson. She directly implicated King, posting screenshots and messages suggesting that a family in panic had their daughter ensnared in what she described as a web orchestrated by the Harris household. The accusations were severe, though legally unproven, and the family vehemently denied every claim. Yet the power of accusation alone shifted the narrative, further entangling King in a scandalous portrayal. Amid this online storm, King's personal life took a critical turn. He ended up in the ICU, fighting for his life, in what insiders claim was a culmination of escalating pressures. From prior legal troubles to public altercations, including the viral Falcons game incident, where tensions with his father turned physical, the young heir's downward spiral appeared to be accelerating. Hospital security, unusual activity, and unverified claims about substances in his system fueled speculation that King was not just a victim of circumstance, but potentially targeted. Every unconfirmed report added layers of intrigue and suspicion, intensifying public fascination and fear. For the Harris family, accustomed to life under constant media scrutiny, this crisis was unprecedented. Tiny Harris navigated grief while simultaneously defending her son against social media attacks, including rumors about paternity of King's newborn. Meanwhile, T.I. adopted a defiant public stance, challenging critics with calm yet pointed remarks, attempting to counterbalance the torrent of gossip with stoic resolve. The family's dual battle, managing internal panic while fending off external judgment, highlighted the unique pressures of celebrity life. King's ICU struggle, compounded by resurfacing allegations and public speculation, transformed a personal tragedy into a high-stakes spectacle. It was no longer simply about a young man's recklessness. It became a study in how fame, legacy, and unresolved controversies can converge into a crisis that captivates and terrifies a nation. As King Harris lay in the ICU, speculation ran rampant. Some insiders argued that his hospitalization was too perfectly timed to be a coincidence, hinting at deliberate targeting. Anonymous producers and former staff suggested that someone with far-reaching influence might be orchestrating events to send a warning to the Harris family. Every unexplained injury, every disappearing hospital file, and every leaked phone conversation fueled theories that this crisis was more than just misfortune. It was part of a calculated campaign against them. Social media, as ever, amplified every rumor, from payback for public altercations to rival factions within the music industry seeking to exploit King as a weak link. The Harris family's past added layers to the speculation. Years of living in the public eye, intertwined with scandal, created fertile ground for conspiracy narratives. Sabrina Peterson's resurfacing allegations of coercion, manipulation, and wild parties reignited old wounds and reminded the public that the family's fame had always been haunted by controversy. Each time the family attempted to regain control of the narrative, another skeleton emerged, reinforcing the perception of a dynasty under siege. Internally, the pressure was immense. Tiny Harris, balancing grief and public outrage, was forced into a dual role of caregiver and spokesperson, defending her son while confronting her own trauma. T.I., known for his composed public persona, faced the impossible challenge of countering both social media attacks and whispers of internal betrayal. The family's private reality, once shared candidly through reality TV, now became a carefully guarded fortress, as every move risked intensifying public scrutiny. King Harris's plight became emblematic of the dangers of inherited fame. What began as personal recklessness or youthful rebellion had transformed into a public spectacle, exposing the fragility of legacy, the power of perception, and the high stakes of a family name long intertwined with notoriety. Whether targeted or simply trapped by circumstance, King's crisis illustrated how a dynasty can implode when past sins, real or alleged, converge with present vulnerability. As King Harris clung to life in the ICU, the outside world oscillated between sympathy and scrutiny. Crowds gathered at the hospital, protests and banners proclaiming support for the family, while skeptics circulated theories about hidden agendas and long-standing grudges. The Harris dynasty, once celebrated for its charisma and public hustle, now faced a reality in which reputation was a fragile shield, unable to contain the relentless barrage of speculation, accusations, and viral commentary. Inside the hospital, Tiny Harris embodied the tension of personal anguish and public duty. Every beep of the ICU monitor underscored the stakes, not just for her son's health, but for the fragile perception of a family constantly measured against past controversies. T.I. maintained a careful public stance, attempting to balance defiance with dignity, reminding audiences that in a world of viral rumors, some battles are won by restraint and focus rather than confrontation. Yet, the relentless online narratives, rumors of trafficking, questions of paternity, and insinuations of manipulation continued to intensify, pushing the family into a defensive posture where even grief became a public performance. The crisis illuminated the unique pressures of celebrity and legacy. King's rapid fall from promising young father to a figure engulfed in scandal illustrated the peril of living life under constant observation, where privilege can become a magnifying glass for mistakes and vulnerabilities. Some argue that karma, past indiscretions, or rivalries within the entertainment industry contributed to the timing and severity of his condition. Others insist the narrative is simpler. Unchecked fame and a family history steeped in controversy inevitably invite scrutiny, judgment, and risk. Ultimately, King Harris's story remains unresolved. The ICU is both a literal and symbolic battleground, representing the fragile intersection of personal struggle, public fascination, and inherited legacy. Whether this episode marks a temporary setback, the result of deliberate targeting, or the tragic consequences of inherited pressure, one truth remains clear. The Harris dynasty exists in a state of perpetual vigilance. Every new allegation, every viral post, and every rumor keeps the world watching, reminding us that in the lives of those born to fame, no crisis exists in isolation, and no family is immune to the weight of its own legacy.